So one thing I did want to talk about today, many people have been discussing a bit with the new Season 9 update in Motorfest that did end up bringing us the Track Forge and also the NASCAR playlist, at least for right now, because in 2 months we'll have the RC playlist. But one thing I'm kind of confused on, guys, we all do know, for one, I'll show this here quick, we did end up getting the NASCAR playlist. So, yeah, there's 10 events there. Technically, there's 9, but, a 10th event shows up later. We have the challenges, rivals, and all that stuff, which are all these stunt style events. Then we have the custom mode. But one thing I gotta admit, and also a lot of people are a bit confused on, is where's the PvP for NASCAR, bro? I wanted to ask this because I'm gonna be 100% real here and say that the fact that we don't have any PvP for NASCAR, bro, for me, it's honestly kind of a big L. I really think something with this could have been done for this update. I'm kind of confused on why it's not. Even another example here in Grand Racing, unless I'm completely losing my mind, there is no Cup cars in this either. At least, not right now anyway, which is kind of odd because, it's a new category. So, maybe they'd want to put them in Grand Racing. Now, a few different things with this. People are saying that, yes, the physics and the way they drive and all that might be super wonky. Maybe players don't want to use them in races, but maybe they could mildly tweak the physics or how they feel so you could use them in Grand Racing, or, maybe just use them in any style PvP, because we all do know we did end up getting the NASCARs in the update. But the thing is, though, once you are done with the playlist and all that stuff, and you could probably go on Track Forge and do different races on there with them, but, the fact that there's no PvP stuff at all, man, I am super confused. And honestly, one of the biggest L's I noticed with it is simply down to the fact I think this was honestly a really big miss, man. But let me explain why I think that is. We all do know right now that, yes, we do have the brand new track here, guys, which I am currently, spinning around here on the new island. It's a pretty dope oval track. Let me ask you all a question. We obviously do not have NASCAR at all in the grand races, right? But can we imagine for a second if maybe NASCAR had a separate racing category for it that was on the track, or, did different tracks around the said, new track here on the, new playground? Can you imagine for a minute 20 racers, players racing around this track, having the fueling system, having all that stuff in there? Again, I understand with the sliding physics, maybe they could tweak that back slightly so it's not super annoying. That way players can really race around this. And the reason why I say this is this update is obviously a NASCAR sponsored update. They paid a lot of money for the licensing for this, I'm guessing, to have this in this game. So why not really highlight NASCAR even more with a full-on game mode that's focused around NASCAR? That way players can jump in there and play. Because I can tell y'all right now, if there was a NASCAR Grand Race game mode that was focused on 20 or 25 NASCARs racing around this track, I guarantee y'all people would be all over that, and the lobbies would be filling up so dang quick it would be wild. I guarantee it. People would definitely want to play that game mode. I know I would be in it, that's for sure. I would definitely be playing it. But for me, though, not seeing NASCAR PvP, it's just confusing, dude, because a lot of these updates I've been noticing in Motorfest, there is positives with them, but can we also be honest and say there is a lot of missed opportunities with these as well? Similar to like the Chase Squad update, for example. We all do know they might have could have did something with that update with PvP, bro, but nothing. And now we're also having the NASCAR update. I think having the main oval track here and having the overall design there, bro, it is easily possible to have it in there, but for some odd reason, it isn't there. Now, you could probably argue along those lines that maybe it might come down to the engine limitations or the issues with the engine in the game. That could have something to do with it. One of my biggest things is probably down to the fact that this game is still on PS4 and Xbox One, which is probably one of the biggest issues, but also a problem that's holding this game back from maybe a game mode like that. Could a PS4 run 27 or 28 players racing around this oval track on that, like in NASCARs? Going crazy, crashing, flips. Can you guys imagine how much fun that would be, bro? It would be absolutely insane. Make it so maybe you're invisible certain times so you don't run everyone off the track. There is definitely ways around this stuff to add a fun game mode to the game. Like, the fact to me that there's no NASCARs being used in even grand racing in general is kind of shocking. Maybe they'll add it later on, but what if we end up getting the RC cars in 2 months and those are in grand racing and PvP stuff before NASCAR? Isn't that kind of wild? Now, maybe you might even argue the fact that maybe NASCAR doesn't want them in PvP racing. Well, That's kind of weird considering you could probably do a grand racing of NASCAR, having just NASCARs in there would totally promote it and probably make players want to drive the NASCARs even more, explore them, figure things out with them, and have even more fun with those cars driving around the said oval on the, you know what I'm saying? Like, couldn't something like this work? This could even make somebody maybe want to get NASCAR 25 or maybe get into NASCAR. And I bet you guys if there is a second grand race ability on the oval track with, again, 25 or whatever it is players instead of 8 people in the actual playlist, which for me, I think 8 players in the playlist was honestly a pretty annoying thing. I was hoping for more. But again, engine limitations. Maybe having a Grand Race PvP mode could have made up for that, but also, I guarantee it, players would be going bonkers over that game mode, bro. I'm telling you. Having a game mode like that would have been so dang entertaining, because to be 100% honest, I do kind of think the playlist for players will be cool, but let's be real though, once the entire playlist is done doing the events in maybe an hour and a half or so, players will most likely forget about this playlist super quick and probably not even know it's existing after less than a week. So why not have a game mode like Grand Racing that keeps NASCARs fresh in there, but also makes things interesting so players could go in there, race against each other, have fun, have the pitting with the, fuel and tires and all that stuff. I can tell y'all right now, if that was a thing, I would be all over it. But the fact that it's not in the game, for me, it's just kind of another missed opportunity with these updates in Motorfest. I feel like that would have been so dope, but also super different, really separating this game from other ones, having a game mode like that. And also, again, it would get a ton of eyes on NASCAR. So, I don't really understand the thought processes. Do let me know what y'all think, but I would say most players would probably agree. And I have been noticing many people saying this stuff, that the fact that we don't have anything for NASCAR or any of the races for PvP, even using a NASCAR, is insanely weird.